Now it's my distinct honor to introduce today's convocation speaker, the one and only Coach Mack Brown. Coach Brown led our Longhorns for 16 seasons, including, of course, the iconic national championship team in 2005. Now, that's just one reason he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Probably don't need any other reasons, but there were others. His coaching career spanned 4 decades, amassing over 288 wins across 4 universities, Tulane, App State, twice at North Carolina Chapel Hill, but of course, most importantly, right here on the 40 acres with UT. At Texas, Coach Brown's 12 consecutive seasons, winning at least 9 games, was an all-time first for us, and so too for having 3 11-win seasons. But just as important as that success on the field, Coach Brown's teams maintained high levels of achievement in the classroom and involvement in the community. Coach Brown's got a lifetime's worth of achievement, in fact, at the highest level as what I would recognize as a teacher, someone who understands success, someone who understands the inevitability of adversity, but also the possibility of resilience and success in the face of adversity, and the joy of achievement that comes especially from achievement in the face of serious obstacles and challenges. He also understands the challenges faced by high-achieving people who are at the outset of their careers. He's shaped many lives for the better with his wisdom and his words, and so I'm especially delighted he was willing to join us today. Please put your hands together for Coach Mack Brown.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's better. That's about 7 wins. Good afternoon. Ooh, I like that. That's better. We can wake up. Great job, Holly. You killed it. I hate to follow you. Start talking about that. I was always told when you speak, stand tall to be seen, be loud to be heard, and be brief to be appreciated. So I will do all 3 of those as we go through. Dean Chesney, I'm so honored that you allowed me to speak to this wonderful group of graduates. Graduates, after today, with this ceremony, it'll mark you as something special. You'll be different. You'll be different than anybody else in the country, and I'm really so jealous for your journey. This next chapter is going to be so much fun. But you take on a responsibility above those who haven't earned this degree. You accept new obligations, new standards, and new principles. President Obama said once, and I'm not political, so Coach can't be political. Half the people are mad at you anyway, and if you chose a political party, the other half would be mad, so you wouldn't have anybody that liked you. So you got to be careful in coaching. But I thought this fit our graduates today. There'll be many times when you shouldn't compromise your core values or your integrity. And you will have the responsibility to speak up in the face of injustice. But listen, engage in the other side. They may have a point, and you might learn something. If they're wrong, rebuke them, teach them, beat them on the battlefield of ideas. And you might as well start practicing now, because one thing I can guarantee you is that you will have to deal with ignorance, you'll have to deal with hatred, you'll have to deal with racism, you'll deal with foolishness and trifling folks. I promise that you will have to deal with all of those in every stage of your life. That may not seem fair, but fair's never been completely fair. Life's not fair. Nobody promised you a crystal stair, and if you want to make life fair, then you've got to go start with the world as it is. I wanted to share some wisdom with 2 gentlemen in my life that were really important to me. The first one's my granddad. And you got to find your people. You'll understand that in a few minutes. But find people that you can trust, and find people that you can respect, and find people that you can learn from. And my objective for you graduates would be to take 3 to 5 things away from today that'll help you in your journey. So give me just a few more minutes to listen. My granddad was Eddie Watson. He was an educator. He was winningest high school football coach in Middle Tennessee history. The stadium's named after him. He was a strong man with a kind heart from a small town in Tennessee. And he taught me some things that I'd like to give you. He would always say, success is about being happy. You can't be successful without happiness. And that's so true. So think today, if you're not happy, that's something we've got to do. We've got to head that way. This fits you perfectly. Embrace your next chapter. Enjoy the journey. I remember we'd won the national championship, and the next day, Vince Young's leaving to go to the NFL, and Colt McCoy's a young quarterback that's redshirted, and then all these other guys are leaving, and I'm not sure that I enjoyed it. We went to the White House on Valentine's Day to see the president. As our team was walking down the steps of the White House, Sally started crying, and I'm sitting there with the president and first lady, and I said, "What are you crying about?" And she said, "We won the national championship." I said, "Yeah, about 2 months ago." And she said, "I haven't had a chance to even think about it, so enjoy it. Enjoy the journey." That's really, really important. I'll be careful with this one. I won't say it exactly like Granddad said, but he said, don't worry about rat turds when you've got elephant poop all around you. Because that's important that we spend so much time worried about things that are unimportant. Make sure it's important before you go fight for it. Don't just fight all the time. Pick your fights for sure, and that's really important as you go through. He also always told me, achieve your goals and then try to live your dream. That's what we did with the 05 national championship team. We had a motto, let's get our goal, and that was to win the conference championship, and the dream was to win the national championship. So when we got our goal accomplished, then we could have some fun and relax and go to the next level. This one always really got me from Granddad, and I didn't understand it early. If your habits don't fit your goals and dreams, change your habits. If your habits don't fit your goals and dreams, change your habits. So are you doing everything right now that you need to do to get where you want to go? It's easy to say I want to win a national championship. It's really hard to do it. There's a true story of a gentleman that's lost in the desert. He's got a pocket knife, and he had his cell phone, and he was hiking, and nobody else was around. There was a landslide, and a boulder caught his shoulder underneath a huge rock. Couldn't call anybody, didn't have food or water, nobody around. So he had to make a decision. He took his pocket knife out. It's a true story. He cut off his left arm so he could live. That part of the story means, what can you cut off to help you live better? There's something we can all give up. What would you give up today as you walk out of here to make sure that it'll help you be a better lawyer? And that's so important. We don't know how much time we've got. We had a player die in North Carolina 2 years ago of stage 4 cancer, and at the funeral, the chaplain said, you don't know how much time you've got, so let's put life in your time. And I do that now. Every minute of every day, I get up and I'm being positive, and I am happy and trying to help people. Another thing he said at that funeral, which really got me, is you be grateful if you get up every morning and you're healthy and your family's healthy. Because you think you've got problems, but if they tell you you've got 3 months to live, all those problems go away. Problems are just opportunities to fix things. My granddad also said it takes 74 muscles to smile and 114 to frown. He said, why don't you take a shortcut, man? It's a whole lot easier and a whole lot more fun. He said, treat people like you want to be treated, and that's so true. It's what we ask our coaches to coach the players like they wanted their sons and daughters to be coached. And always do the right thing. And if you have to wonder if it's right or not, it's not. But you always do the right thing, and that'll help you more than you can ever imagine. The second gentleman I'd like to talk to you about is named Joe Jamel. Mr. Jamel, you walk by his bronze statue every day inside the Joe Jamel Pavilion. His name's everywhere, and he was one of my best friends. He was a proud law school graduate. He always made us address him as a lawyer, not an attorney, because the law was really, really important to him, and his life was about the law. He was one of the best friends, but he also called me every night. Don't guess I'm supposed to say this, but he did have 3 scotchies every night before he went to bed. And he was always on a diet, so he'd eat cucumbers and pickles and tomatoes at lunch. And I'd say, what are you doing? He said, I'm saving my calories for tonight because I'm going to have my 3 drinks. So he'd call every night. He'd talk for like an hour, and he'd say, Coach, you got a drink? And I'd say, no, sir. And he'd say, go get one. I want to hear the ice. So I'd go get water. I'd put ice in the water and I'd shake it. And he said, don't know that I believe you, but go ahead and drink it, which was fair. And you that know Mr. Jamel know he was brilliant, but he was very, very colorful with his language and his life, for sure. The first time I met Mr. Jamel, he said, this is my wife, Lee, and she and I have a lot in common. We're in love with the same man, me. There's no question, that was Joe. So he taught me so much, but listen to a few things that he taught me that I think will help you. He said, don't ever have a conversation with someone that doesn't know what he doesn't know. You're wasting your time. Let's think about it. You're fighting with an idiot. They're not going to get any smarter. They're not going to change their opinion because they're not smart enough to research it. So he called it dead air. Don't waste dead air when you're talking to somebody that doesn't know what they don't know. He also hated liars. He said, don't ever sit down and have a conversation with somebody that you know's a liar because you can't believe anything they say. So you're wasting your time again. Just do that. And here's your people. Think about this. I said, he got death threats. He got so much criticism. And I said, how do you handle the criticism and who do you listen to? And he said, I take 5 to 7 people that I really like, I respect, and I trust and admire, and I ask them questions. And I don't ask anybody else. I don't read social media because who cares? Why would you worry about somebody that doesn't even know you talking about you? In fact, he said, I would never, ever consider something somebody said that I wouldn't ask advice from. And he said, most of those people I wouldn't ask advice from when they're depressed in their basement talking about how bad you are and they don't have a job. And that was just him. It was always really, really direct. He also said, and I live with this today, he said, remember that the E in email stands for evidence. He said more people get arrested because of some stupid thing they wrote in an email, and don't ever put anything in an email that you don't want read publicly, because they're going to read it. So every time somebody emails me now, I see Mr. Jamel on my shoulder, and I'm afraid to answer it. I'm afraid to, so I have to look very closely. All right, a couple of lessons that I taught our team at the national championship, because all of you are putting yourself now in a different place, so you're going to start handling cases with a tremendous amount of pressure. Well, 20 years ago, we were in LA in the Rose Bowl. Texas hadn't won a national championship for 35 years. So you're the football team. What do I tell them? This is big. This is important. They're uptight, man. What do I tell them? So here's what I decided, sitting in my room, trying to figure out how do I get this team ready to play. There are 132 teams. There's 2 left. Only 2 left, man. You're either going to be national champ or nobody will ever talk about who's number 2. They never even remember. So I'm watching TV and I see this show, Jerry Springer. I'd never seen that show before. And I said, are you kidding me? Is this real? Is this like wrestling? I couldn't figure it out, but I got it. So I walk in, you're the team. I walked in, the first thing I could tell, they were so uptight and they were wanting me to help them. And that's what your team's going to be doing when you have this huge case. So I walk in, the team's sitting there, and I said, thank you. Like your parents and family today, thank you for getting us here, man. We didn't do it, you did it. And everybody's happy. Everybody loves being here, and that's really cool. And then I said, how many of you have ever seen the show Jerry Springer? And it really disappointed me. Every one of them raised their hand. I'd never heard of it, never seen it. So I said, okay, listen to me closely now. I'm going to tell you something's going to help you win the game, but it's also going to help you for the rest of your life. So I had them, man. They're locked in, and I said, if your wife or your girlfriend ever asks you to go on the Jerry Springer show, man, do not go. It is not good. They died laughing, and I said, yeah, we didn't come here to be uptight. We're going to have fun. We're good enough to win being us. And if you've prepared every day like you should, then you go be you. You don't have pressure when you're prepared. Pressure is when you haven't prepared yourself for the task at hand, and that's really important. And then here at the end, also after the game, what do you say? They've just won the first national championship in 35 years. Greatest day of their life. President Bush called at 6 in the morning and said, I don't know if I'm the best president. I don't know if I'm the best husband. I don't know if I'm the best father. You have it measured. You have the best football team in the country. Congratulations. And that was really cool. And then I asked him, I said, you don't stay up late. The game wasn't over till 1 o'clock in D.C. Did you go to sleep or did you stay up? He paused, so I said, tell me the truth. You're the president. You're not supposed to sit there and tell me something's not true. And he says, when you went down by 12 with 6:42 left, I laid down in my bed and I was mad, like you were. But this team had come back so many times. I got back up, I went into my TV room and watched the University of Texas win the national championship. So yes, I saw it, and I saw it with my own eyes. So in closing, after you've won this huge case and you've got your firm, what do you do? So after the game, again, I didn't know what to tell them. I'd never won a national championship. So the thing I told them was, this is cool. You've got the best football team in the country. But you know what? When you're 40 years old, don't let this be the best thing that ever happened in your life. Don't go back and say, remember that game? Remember how I played? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Use this to be a better husband. Use this to be a better father. Use this to be a better person in the community. They all looked at me like I was crazy, and then we come back here 20 years later and they're all husbands and fathers and they're successful, and they say, we get it. We get it. The other thing I told them, and this is true for you tonight and in your prep for the bar, I said, you're never going to be more visible than this, so stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Be smart. Everybody wants to have fun, and that's cool, but have smart fun, because it's going to keep you from getting a job. And everybody's got a camera, so everybody's a reporter now, so just remember, that's just part of it, as I said that. So when they're uptight, getting ready for your case, have them smile and relax, because you're prepared. When you've just won, you've got to be consistent. And I made a mistake here after we'd won so many games. I said, we need to maintain this. You don't ever need to maintain anything. You need to chase perfect every day. You're probably not going to catch it, but man, if you're chasing it, you're going to be closer than anybody else who wants to maintain. And you get up and you create that edge daily. So make no mistake, no profession is more honorable than the law. The defenders of the Constitution, the guardians of our liberty, the advocates of just causes. No matter how unpopular the protectors of the powerless are, the wise counselors of our society, that is the role of America's lawyers. This is what you have trained to become. Congratulations. Go out in this world and be the best you.